Story 1. My best friend planned my divorce. The woman I trusted the most is the one who destroyed my marriage. I'm 32, married for 7 years. My best friend of 15 years was like a sister to me. She knew everything about my marriage, every fight, every mistake, every secret. One day, I noticed my husband acting cold, distant, almost like he was scared of me. Then suddenly, he asked for a separation. I was confused until I checked his phone one night. There were hundreds of messages between him and my best friend, but not romantic. Worse. She had been telling him that I was cheating, that I was planning to leave him, that I wanted to ruin his life financially. All lies. She even sent fake screenshots using editing apps to prove it. Why? Because she was jealous that I got married before her. My husband finally learned the truth and came back crying. But honestly, I don't know who betrayed me more. The man who believed lies about me. Or the woman who created them. What will you do in a situation like this? Story 2. My sister stole my fiancé. Pregnant for him now. My sister is carrying my fiancé's baby, and nobody knows except me. I'm 29 and was supposed to be getting married next month. Everything was perfect, except my sister kept hanging around my fiancé more than normal. One night, her phone rang while she was in the bathroom. It was my fiancé's name on her screen. I froze. When I confronted her, she broke down immediately and said, "Please don't tell Mummy. I'm pregnant." She told me they had been seeing each other behind my back for almost a year. A year. My fiancé said it just happened. My sister said she didn't mean to. And now my family wants me to forgive and be mature because blood is blood. But they forget, he was supposed to be my husband. And she was supposed to be my sister. Now I don't know if I should walk away from both of them. Or expose everything at the wedding day. Please Vyers, what should I do? Story 3. My husband cheated. With my big sister moments after my surgery. I woke up from surgery and found out my husband cheated on me while I was unconscious. I had major surgery and couldn't walk for days. My sister volunteered to help my husband take care of me. One afternoon, I pretended to be asleep because I heard whispers. I opened my eyes just a little. And I saw my husband and sister kissing right beside my bed. They didn't even wait till they left the hospital. My sister said, "She won't know. She's too weak." I never felt so betrayed in my life. By my own blood. By my own husband. In the moment, I was most helpless. Now I'm healing physically, but emotionally, I don't know if I'll ever trust again. Story 4. My ex cheated on me with the girl he told me not to worry about, and now they're engaged. You know that gut feeling you get when something feels off, but you talk yourself out of it because you don't want to seem crazy? Yeah. That was me. My ex and I were together for almost 3 years. Around year 2, he started getting close with this coworker, we'll call her Ava. He'd always talk about her in this, "Oh, she's just funny and cool" kind of way. At first, I didn't think much of it. But then it became daily inside jokes, texts at midnight, him mentioning her name more than mine. When I finally said it made me uncomfortable, he hit me with the classic. What should I do? Please drop your comment. Story 4. He left me. For my mom. My boyfriend broke up with me because he fell in love with my mother. I'm 26, he's 30. He always complimented my mom, but I thought he was just being polite. Until one day he said, "You and your mom look so alike, but she's the more mature version of you." I laughed. I didn't know he was serious. Then last weekend, my mom sat me down crying and said he confessed his feelings to her. He told her, "I wish I had met you before your daughter." My mom rejected him and told me immediately. But now I'm sitting here wondering, was he ever in love with me? Or was I just the younger version of the woman he really wanted? Story 5. I am female 24, dad is 50, he was cheating on my mom of 47 years old and I can't tell her because of how I found out. Need advice? So here's some background on everything. Almost 3 years ago my parents were having issues where she suspected he was cheating or about to cheat. He was close with this girl at work, and later down the line someone told her that he got an STD test because that was this one girl's rule before having sex. Come to find out, he did get an STD test without telling my mom. It all added up and he admitted to he was going to do something. They argued for a while and one night they went to a bar and argued during the drive. My dad was drunk driving and they crashed. My mom lost fingers and completely shattered her elbow bone. She is now disabled and unable to work. She doesn't make enough on disability to survive by herself. They have 2 young children to care for still. Fast forward to today, 4 months my mom has suspected something was going on. She's been ranting to me and some of it seemed fishy, but a lot of it seemed crazy. But, a woman has intuition about these things. She would always ask him about the sketchy things and wanted him to call her on his breaks to gain the trust back. He doesn't do anything on his breaks anyways. A month or so ago he started rebelling and getting annoyed with her and saying he needs his space and he wants his breaks back. She thought it was weird because he doesn't do anything but sit in the car anyways. Well, 2 weeks ago he came home and told my mom that he wanted to separate, but still wanted to stay there and help with the kids. He said he was tired of constantly being accused when he's not doing anything and that she needed therapy. She was devastated and begged him if she went to therapy they could make it work. She can't afford to live on her disability payments and take care of the 2 small children. He said he wanted to make it work, but took his wedding rings off the next day. She has been asking him to put them back on if they're making it work. He just kept saying he wasn't ready, so she told him she needed to know what was going on and if he didn't put his rings back on, then he needs to leave because she's not sitting around waiting and being his housewife. I have been in the middle on how to feel until today. My brother, 19, works with my dad, and my dad is his ride to work since the car is in his name, even though it was gifted to my mom SMH. My brother told me that on the way to work, my dad said just between you and me and blank are seeing each other. Like dating, surprise, it's another girl he works with. My brother said I can't say anything to mom because dad is his ride to work and he doesn't want him to stop taking him. I'm so angry and want to tell my mom because she thinks she's crazy and she ruined her 26-year marriage. But she didn't. She's been crying to me telling me how crazy she feels and that she should just go check into a hospital. And I'm sorry, but she's been right this whole time. You don't just start seeing someone only 2 weeks after you decide to tell your wife you want to separate. He has been seeing her. I am angry ASF. How could he do this to her after he caused the car accident that ruined her life and now she can't even work? I'm disgusted and I don't know what to do with my feelings. I want to tell my mom so bad, but I don't want my brother to have to face the consequences. What to do? I want to text my dad so bad and just lay into him and call him a nasty and tell him how I really feel. Please give me advice on how to handle this. I want my mom to know she's not crazy. I want my dad to know how disgusting of a human being he is. But I only found out because my brother trusted to tell me. He wants to tell her too, but keeps saying dad is his only way to work. Story 6. I 27 male found out my girlfriend 26 female was cheating in probably the dumbest, most random way possible. We'd been together for almost 3 years. We lived together, split bills, and shared a joint credit card for groceries and small stuff. I handled most of the payments because I'm better with that side of things. Everything was fine. Or at least I thought it was. A few weeks ago, I got a notification from the credit card app about a charge from a restaurant I didn't recognize. Normally I wouldn't think twice, but it was for dinner for 2 at a place she and I had just talked about trying. I asked her about it later that night, and she said she went out with coworkers after work. Sounded fine, but something felt off. A few days later, another notification came through. Same card. Same restaurant. Same amount. This time, it was on her day off. I didn't say anything right away. I just looked at the statements, and sure enough there were a few more random charges from bars and cafes near her office. I finally asked her directly, and she started crying before I even finished my sentence. She admitted she'd been seeing someone from work for a few months. Said it just happened and that she didn't mean to hurt me. I don't even know what to do with that. The part that messed me up most wasn't the cheating, it's that I paid off every single one of those charges thinking they were ours. She moved out last week. I canceled the card and split everything cleanly, but I can't shake the feeling that I was financing my own heartbreak. Please, what will you do in a situation like this? Story 8. I'm 23. My best friend, Anita, has been close to my family since childhood. My mother treats her like a daughter. She prays for her, advises her, helps her, even pays her school fees when her parents couldn't. So imagine the shock when I found romantic messages between her and my father. At first, I thought it was a prank. I kept scrolling. And the messages got worse. My father was telling her, "You understand me better than your mother ever has." And she replied, "I'm tired of hiding. When will you tell her about us?" My heart dropped. Meanwhile, my mother was fasting and praying for the strange woman destroying her home. She had no idea that the strange woman was the same girl she fed, housed, and loved. I confronted Anita and said, "How could you do this to my family?" She didn't even look sorry. She said, "Your father loves me. And I love him." That day, my entire world changed. And I had to choose. Do I protect my mother from heartbreak? Or do I tell her the truth, even though it will destroy her? Please, viewers, I need your advice. Drop your comment on this, thanks. Story 10. My ex-stepsister had sex with her fiancé's best friend in their kitchen after they'd been out drinking. They thought he was upstairs too drunk to know it was happening, which was their plan. Wrong, he walked in on them. They knew full well he struggled with his mental health too, still chose to betray him that way. He had a complete mental breakdown after that and led himself by throwing himself in front of a train. Even worse, he brought their young daughter with him too. Luckily, she survived, but it took multiple surgeries, and she now has many scars, physically and mentally. Once she became old enough to understand exactly what happened and why she doesn't have her dad. Her relationship with her mum and now stepdad was done for. Never once blamed her dad at all for the pain she had to go through. She said it's all her mum/stepdad's fault. What do you all think of this story? Drop your comment, please. Story 11. AM 33 female. My boyfriend 34, he lied, caught him with a woman in his apartment. My boyfriend and I were both out on Halloween. He was with friends and I was with my friends. My friend was hosting a Halloween party, and he lives about 7 minutes away from my boyfriend. 2 months into our relationship, he gave me keys to his apartment and told me that I can stop by if I ever needed to. My apartment is 30 minutes away, and that night I drank too much. We were texting the entire night, and he said that he was headed home because he's also too drunk and needed to eat and crash for the night. It's about 5 in the morning. I texted him to let him know that I was heading over to sober up and eat. I usually give him a heads up. I walked over. When I got there, I saw his neighbor hanging outside with her dog. I've seen her around before and we had a pleasant exchange. As I walked up, her dog started barking and he wasn't on his leash. I asked if she could please get her dog and she started questioning why I was there. I was so confused because she was super hostile. She asked me what the fuck I was doing there. I couldn't believe that she was talking to me like that, and she seemed intoxicated herself. So I ignored her and went to open the door. My boyfriend rushed to the door demanding to know what I was doing there. He was angry. He tried to block the entrance and told me that I needed to leave. I looked and saw a woman sitting on the couch. They were sitting in the dark watching TV. He never mentioned anything about bringing a friend to his apartment. Only that he was drunk and needed to eat/sleep. Well, he was wide awake. I asked who she was, He said it was his god sister's friend, so basically a stranger. I immediately pushed past him and went to go grab my belongings and told him that I was done with the relationship. As I was packing, his neighbor came to the door again. The door was closed, but she was outside screaming "fuck that bitch" over and over again. I ran to the door and confronted her. We exchanged words and my boyfriend didn't even try to intervene. So now you have 2 women hanging around your apartment? What was said to this woman to make her think that she could disrespect me like that? I didn't even stick around to find out. I got my shit and left. When I first met the neighbor, her body language was pretty flirtatious. Something in my gut had a feeling that she was interested in my boyfriend. I did ask him if they had history and he insisted that they never did. I feel like if there was no history, she wouldn't have been coming at me like that out of nowhere. Please, what do you think of this my experience?
Story 1. My husband hid a second family 2 streets away for 10 years. And I never knew. For 10 years, I thought I had the perfect marriage. A loving husband, peaceful home, a beautiful son. But one afternoon, a simple knock on my door shattered everything. I wasn't prepared to learn that my husband had another family. Not in another state, not in another town, but just 2 streets away from our house. And the worst part, I knew the woman. I am 34 female, and my husband is 39 male. We've been married for 10 years, and everyone around us believed we were the model couple. He works in real estate, so he always had excuses for leaving the house. A client just called me. I need to check a property. There's a late-night viewing, don't wait up. I trusted him blindly. We have a 7-year-old son, Daniel. Every day, my husband kissed us goodbye, smiled, and left the house like the perfect family man. I never suspected a thing. Until the day everything crumbled. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was washing dishes when I heard a knock. A young girl stood there, maybe 10 years old. She looked strangely familiar. She asked, "Is my daddy here?" My heart froze. I knelt down and said gently, "Sweetheart, who is your daddy?" She whispered a name. My husband's name. I laughed nervously. "No, sweetheart, you must be mistaken." She shook her head confidently. "No. My mommy said if Daddy doesn't come home today, I should come here." My hand started shaking. Before I could process what she said, a woman sprinted towards my house. And that's when my heart dropped. I recognized her. She was the friendly woman from my son's school. The one who always waved at me. The one who sometimes chatted with me during drop-off. She grabbed the girl's hand and apologized. "I'm so sorry. I didn't want her to come here. She's just upset." I took a breath. "Your daughter says her father lives here. Why would she say that?" The woman's face turned pale. She whispered, "I think you already know." My knees went weak. I asked her to come inside. We sat at the table, 2 strangers about to destroy each other's lives. She took a deep breath and said, "I've been with your husband for 11 years. We have 2 children. He promised he would leave you eventually." My entire world went silent. She continued, "He always told me you mistreated him, that you threatened to take his son away. So he stayed with you out of fear." I believed him. I felt sick. He had fed her lies to protect his double life. I asked, "Where do you live?" She said, 2 streets away." 2 streets away. I almost screamed. While I took Daniel to school. While I bought groceries. While I slept beside this man. He had a second family living 5 minutes away. My husband came home that evening smiling as usual. "Baby, I brought suya. I know you love." I didn't even let him finish. "She came here today." His face dropped instantly. He didn't ask who. He already knew. I repeated, she came here. He sank into the sofa like someone hit him with a brick. I can explain. You better explain, I said. He started crying, like a child caught stealing. He admitted everything. He met her before he met me. She got pregnant first. When he met me, he didn't know how to let either of us go. He tried to break up with her but couldn't leave his children. So he kept both families. For a decade. 2 Christmases. 2 birthdays. 2 separate lives. I felt nauseous. Then I asked him the question every betrayed woman asks. Did you ever love me? And he said the most disgusting thing. I loved both of you. The next day, the woman came to apologize again. She told me she didn't know he was still living with me. He had told her we were separated but living together for our son. I realized something. We were both victims. She loved him too. She raised 2 children, waiting for a man who lived a double life. Packed his things and threw them out of the house. He begged, cried, said he would choose me. But I told him, if I was enough, you wouldn't have needed 2 families. He now lives with the other woman, but even she no longer trusts him. As for me and my son, we're healing slowly. I told him one truth. I would rather be alone than share my husband with another woman 2 streets away. What will you do in a situation like this? Did I make the right decision? Please drop your comment. Story 2. My best friend slept with my husband while helping me plan my wedding. Female 23, husband 34, best friend 25, ***. Female 23. I'm a 23-year-old woman, and this is the kind of betrayal I never imagined would happen to me. Not from my fiancé, and definitely not from the person I called my closest friend for more than a decade. I was planning my wedding. It was supposed to be the happiest season of my life. My fiancé, male 34, and I had been together for 3 years. He had proposed beautifully. Everything felt right. And my best friend, female 25, was right there, helping with dresses, locations, decorations, everything. At least, that's what I thought. It started with small things. Whenever my fiancé walked into the room, my best friend suddenly became extra helpful. She would lean close when showing him something on her phone, laugh too loudly at his jokes, fix her hair every time he spoke. I brushed it off. I didn't want to be the jealous bride, and she was like a sister to me. But then, I noticed she began checking on him, even when I wasn't around. One night, my fiancé forgot his phone on the couch. A message popped up. From her. It said, "Are you still coming tonight?" My heart dropped. When I clicked the chat, all the previous messages between them had been deleted. That was my second red flag. When I asked her the next day, she said, "Oh, we were just talking about the surprise decoration I wanted to do for your wedding." But I hadn't asked her to plan anything. 3 weeks before the wedding, my best friend insisted we sleep over at her house to finish some planning. I was exhausted, so I went upstairs and fell asleep early. But around 2 a.m., I woke up and realized she wasn't in bed with me. Her phone was gone, her bag was gone, and the living room light was off. I stepped outside the house to call her, and while dialing I saw something. Her car wasn't in the driveway. My heart started racing. Something told me to check my fiancé's apartment, even though it was 20 minutes away. And when I got there, her car was parked right outside. I didn't even knock. I used the spare key I still had. The moment I stepped inside, I heard whispers, soft laughter, his voice, her voice. I walked down the hallway and saw them, my fiancé, my future husband, lying in bed with my best friend. Both of them froze when they saw me. He jumped up, stuttering. She covered herself and kept saying, "It's not what you think." But it was exactly what I thought. I just stood there, shaking, not crying, not screaming, just numb. When I finally found my voice, I asked one question. For how long? Neither of them answered at first. But when I pressed again, my fiancé finally said it. 6 months. 6 months. My best friend, who pretended to be helping me plan my wedding, had been sleeping with the man I was about to marry. Behind my back, while smiling in my face, while holding my hand through wedding plans. The part that hurt the most, my best friend didn't even apologize. Instead, she said, "You shouldn't be mad. He told me your relationship was basically over. I couldn't believe it. My fiancé didn't deny it. He just stayed silent, looking guilty. In that moment, I realized something. The relationship was over because they ended it long before I found out. I walked away from both of them. No yelling, no drama, no crying in front of them. Just silence. 2 days later, I canceled the wedding. Blocked them everywhere. Told my family the truth. My best friend tried texting again saying, "Please don't ruin our friendship because of a man." I didn't reply. My fiancé begged me to talk. I didn't. Because when betrayal comes from the two people you trusted the most, there's nothing left to repair. What will you do in a situation like this? Please drop your comment. Story 3. I raised my sister's child for 8 years, then found out the child is actually mine. I am male 33, and for the last 8 years of my life, I have been raising a little girl I thought was my niece. I loved her. I cared for her. I supported her. And my sister, female 35, always thanked me, saying I was the best uncle in the world. But now, I realized she wasn't thanking me. She was hiding something from me. Because that child isn't my niece. She's my daughter. And the truth was buried for almost a decade. 8 years ago, my sister showed up at my apartment crying, holding a newborn baby. She said, "She's the daughter of a friend who ran away. I can't let her go to foster care." I didn't fully understand, but she begged me to help her raise the baby. I was young and struggling, but the baby needed a home. And my sister told me she would handle everything: paperwork, food, childcare. I agreed. I had no reason to doubt her. There was one thing that bothered me back then. The baby looked a lot like me. Same eyes, same smile, even the same birthmark on her shoulder that I have. But everyone said, babies look like everyone at that age. And I believed it. I didn't question anything. When the child turned 7, I tried to enroll her in a private school. They needed birth certificates, medical records, and parental documents. So I went to my sister and asked, "Where is the real mother? We need her signature." My sister suddenly got angry, very angry. She yelled that I was questioning her, that I didn't trust her, that I was trying to dig into things that don't matter. That reaction made no sense. It bothered me for months. Things changed completely when the child got seriously sick with a breathing issue. The hospital needed family medical history. My sister gave them information, but something felt wrong. Her medical answers didn't match what I remembered growing up. The doctor even looked confused. So when my sister stepped out of the room, the doctor quietly asked me, "Are you sure you're not the biological father? The resemblance is extremely strong." That one sentence shook me. I didn't say anything, but when we got home, I did something I never imagined I would do. I bought a DNA test kit. It took 2 weeks. 2 long, painful weeks. When the results came, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely open the envelope. I read it once, then twice, then again. My heart stopped. 99.9% probability of paternity. The baby I raised is my niece for 8 years. She was my daughter. I went straight to my sister's house. At first, she denied everything. But when I showed her the DNA result, she broke down crying. And then she told me the full truth. 8 years ago, I was in a complicated relationship with female 30, my ex-girlfriend. We broke up on bad terms, and shortly after, she discovered she was pregnant. She didn't want the baby. She didn't want the responsibility. She told my sister she planned to abandon the child. My sister begged her to let her raise the baby instead. My ex agreed, but under one condition. I must never know the child was mine. My sister panicked. She thought I wasn't ready to be a father. She thought she was protecting me. So she lied? For 8 years. And the woman I once loved simply walked away from her responsibility. I didn't know whether to cry, scream, or fall to the floor. All I could say was, "You stole my child from me." My sister just kept repeating, "I did it for your own good." But nothing she said could erase the fact that she had robbed me of 8 years of memories. 8 years of first steps, first words, birthdays, school days. 8 years of my daughter's life I will never get back. I immediately filed for custody, not because I wanted to punish my sister, but because I needed to protect my daughter from a family built on lies. My daughter is with me now. She knows me as her uncle, but I am slowly preparing to tell her the truth, with the help of a child therapist. My relationship with my sister? It's destroyed. We barely speak. Her betrayal runs deeper than anything I've ever felt. And my ex-girlfriend, I haven't heard a single word from her. Now I am raising my daughter alone, trying to rebuild what was stolen from me. My question is, did I make the right decision by taking full custody? And how should I tell my daughter the truth about who I really am? Please drop your opinion in the comments. So I 14 male studies in 7th grade. I am friends with this guy since 4th grade. Let's call him Sam for now. So Sam was an introvert. He used to talk very less, and he liked anime as much as I liked it. We became best friends. Then next year, my 12 years of best friend, let's call him Tyler, was finally in the same class as us. I found out that Tyler and Sam became friends. And to the point where they were inseparable. They both even left me out when they were talking. But I still kept my friendship with them. Then 2 years went by and now we are in 7th grade. Sam and Tyler are again in the same class as I am. They started sitting together, and I only sat with one of them when the other was absent. Now yesterday was Sam's birthday, and he invites me every year. But Tyler was not able to come to his birthday parties. Yesterday I called him to say happy birthday, and he then told me that he will not be celebrating his birthday this year. I thought he was telling the truth. The next day, i.e. today, one of our mutual friends told me that Sam had celebrated his birthday yesterday and had invited Tyler. I'd met Tyler about this, and he said yes. I don't know what should I do now. Maybe it was because of that one time when Tyler came to my house. Keep in mind that Tyler, Sam and Tyler's other friend, all are vegetarians. Tyler then opened the refrigerator in my room and found a giant piece of meat. He got traumatized. Then his friend tried stealing my action figures, and I hit him with that piece of meat. It was a goat's leg IG. After this, Sam and Tyler stopped eating the food I brought from my home. Tyler told me that this dad told him that my neighborhood is dangerous and his area is even more dangerous, so he can't visit me and he doesn't invite me. I don't know if that's a lie or not. I am broken from inside. Someone please tell me what to do. Please drop your comment. Story 5. My girlfriend broke up with me to be with my friend. Hey, I don't know how to start this. So I was betrayed by a friend that I knew for years over a coworker that ended up in my life through circumstances. Let's start with this. About a few weeks ago, let's call her Brandy. Ended joining my life after we had been workers for years, and being friends we started a relationship. So I introduced her to some friends, let's call one Pride and the second Traitor. We've been friends for years, me and Pride known each other for almost 12 years, and me and Traitor for 7 or 8 years. Well, she hit it off with both making jokes and hanging out with us, even online playing games. Little did I know they were spending more time, Traitor, and her one day I could not hang with them in the party. I had to go out. I was talking to a friend of mine about the relationship since my last relationship ended terribly. I was afraid to make a mistake or having end up the same way, basically me hurt. As I was headed home, I got a text of her breaking things off saying, and I quote, "I need time to think and get my life together. Please don't hate me, but I need to step away from the relationship." I was heartbroken, but I said okay. A day later, she blocked me from all contact. And I mean everything I had to find out from someone else that the day I left they flirted and made the plan to end the relationship with me so they could continue dating. I had never been so pissed and sad at the same time, even suicidal over some broad that came and went from my life. I had closed my heart long ago, but now not only was I betrayed by one person, I was betrayed by two. The person that opened my heart to almost love again, and someone I had once called friend. Now I am heartbroken again, thinking, maybe I don't ever deserve love, maybe I'm meant to be alone forever. And can I trust anyone ever again? What would you do in a situation like this? Please drop your comment.
Here are some craziest betrayal stories trending on the internet right now. Story 1. My mother-in-law paid a woman to seduce my husband. And it worked. I know this sounds like the plot of a messy Lifetime movie, but I swear on everything I love, this actually happened. And the worst part? My husband didn't even realize he was being set up. 3 months ago, I got a message from an unknown Instagram account. No profile picture. No posts. Just a single DM. Check your husband's DMs, start with a woman named Elena. My stomach dropped. My husband, Mark, and I have been together for 8 years, married for 4. We're not perfect, but cheating was never something I even worried about. So why would a random person message me? Against my better judgment, I opened Mark's laptop while he was showering. I typed Elena in the search bar. And there it was. A thread. A long one. Flirty messages. Photos. Inside jokes. And the kind of tone you use with someone you're exploring. I felt sick. But before I confronted him, I kept scrolling and saw something that made my blood freeze. Your mom gave me the money today. Let me describe Elena. She was everything I wasn't. Tall. Curvy. Loud. Confident. The type who walks into a room and makes men turn. She worked at a lounge my husband and I visited a few times. I remembered her smiling too hard at him. I brushed it off as customer service. Apparently, it was more. Their messages started innocent, she complimented his shoes, he complimented her playlist choice. Then suddenly, it turned suggestive. But the dates told the full story. Everything started shortly after the biggest fight I had ever had with Mark's mom. My MIL, Denise, never liked me. She didn't hide it. She didn't pretend. My son could have married a doctor. My son needs a traditional wife. You can't even give me a grandchild yet? Every visit was a battlefield of comments. The big fight happened at a family dinner when she told me, loud enough for everyone to hear, "You're holding my son back. He deserves a real homemaker." I told her she was being cruel. Mark defended me, and she stormed out. 2 weeks later, Elena appeared in his messages. Coincidence? I didn't think so. Before confronting Mark, I screenshotted everything and messaged the mystery Instagram account. How do you know this? They replied instantly. Because I'm the one your mother-in-law tried to recruit first. My heart skipped. This woman explained that Denise approached her at her workplace, another lounge, because she looked like the type Mark likes. She offered her $500 a week to get close to him and expose his unhappiness. The woman refused and secretly recorded the conversation. But before she could send it to me, she panicked about being dragged into family drama. So she tried anonymously. That night, I waited for Mark to come home. He smelled like whiskey and cologne. I looked him dead in the eyes and asked, "Who is Elena?" His face drained of color. He sat down slowly, shoulders slumped, like a kid caught stealing. He admitted they had become close. He claimed he hadn't crossed the line physically, but he liked the attention. I showed him the message about his mom paying her. He stared at the screen, stunned. My mom, what? Why would she do that? When I told him everything, the recordings, the anonymous message, he looked like he got punched in the chest. He drove to his mother's house that night. Denise didn't even try to lie. She told him straight. Your wife is not good for you. I needed you to see what you were missing. I needed you to see that other women want you. Mark yelled like I'd never heard before. He told her he would not speak to her again until she apologized to me. She crossed her arms and said, "Then I guess we won't be speaking." Mark blocked Elena everywhere. He blocked his mother. He begged me to forgive him. But forgiveness isn't a button you press. Some days, I believe he really was manipulated. Other days, I believe he let himself fall for it. I suggested marriage counseling. He agreed instantly. But here's the twist. Last week, I received a voice note from the anonymous Instagram woman. She said, "Your MIL is trying to find someone new. Be careful." This time, she included the audio recording. And after listening, "I don't think Denise is done," she said in the recording. "If plan A didn't work, I'll make a plan B. I'll break them up one way or another. So now I'm sitting here, telling strangers on the internet, because I honestly don't know what to do next. My mother-in-law paid a woman to seduce my husband, and it actually worked. My husband regrets it, but that doesn't erase the betrayal. My MIL is unhinged, but blocking her doesn't stop her from scheming. And me? I'm stuck trying to decide if a marriage is worth saving when the enemy isn't just outside, it's family. Please, what will you do in a situation like this? Please drop your comment. Story 2. My wife tried to poison me because she fell in love with someone from church. I never thought I'd be the type of man who had to test his drinks before taking a sip. But here I am. And the craziest part? The person I'm scared of isn't a stranger. It's not a crazy ex. It's not someone with a grudge. It's my wife. The woman I married. The woman I trusted with my whole life. Because apparently, she fell in love with someone from our church. And that man convinced her that I was standing in the way of God's plan. My wife, Naomi, and I have been married for 6 years. I thought we had a stable, peaceful, even boring marriage, the good kind of boring. We worked, we came home, we binge-watched shows, we went to bed. No screaming. No cheating. No drama. We attended a small community church every Sunday. Naomi was more religious than I was, so I mostly went to support her. But everything changed when a new prophet joined the church. His name was Dion. Early 40s. Tall, smooth-talking, charismatic. He dressed like he was auditioning for the role of God's favorite messenger. Within a month, he became the glowing superstar of the church. People lined up to hear him pray over them, bless them, speak to them. My wife included. At first, I didn't think anything of it. I mean, Naomi loved spiritual things. But something about Dion rubbed me the wrong way. He stared too intensely. He touched too long. He talked in this slow, hypnotic voice that made your brain melt. But I never imagined he would become a threat. Naomi started changing. She dressed differently. She wore more makeup to church. She got private spiritual counseling sessions every Thursday night. And the biggest red flag? She started treating me like a roommate. Cold. Apathetic. Distant. Every time I brought it up, she blamed it on spiritual fatigue or emotional distractions. But one night, she slipped. She came home from one of Dion's sessions at 11 p.m., smiling like she had just fallen in love. She kissed me on the cheek. Not the lips. The cheek. Something inside me sank. The turning point happened on a Friday. Naomi made me dinner, which she never does. It was my favorite meal, baked chicken with garlic butter and roasted potatoes. She set it down in front of me, smiling too sweetly. Eat first. I'll join you in a minute. Red flag. She never waited to eat. We always ate together. When she turned around to get her phone, her purse fell to the ground. Something slipped out. A small bottle with no label. She panicked and grabbed it instantly. My heart started racing. I didn't touch the food. Instead, I pretended to take a call from work and left. I needed answers. I secretly took a piece of the chicken with me, wrapped in a napkin, and drove to my friend Marcus's house. Marcus is a nurse. He tested the food with a simple toxic strip they use for training. It turned dark blue, which means presence of chemical compounds not meant for human digestion. Poison. Actual poison. I felt the room tilt. Everything spun. My hands were shaking. My wife, my own wife, tried to kill me. Marcus looked pale and said, "Bro, whatever you do, don't go home tonight." The next morning, I returned home while Naomi was at work. I went through her things, something I never do. And I found it. Her journal. Here's a piece of what she wrote. Dion says God revealed that my true husband is him. My marriage is blocking the blessings meant for me. He says God showed him that Mark's spirit is dark and standing in the way of my destiny. Dion says I must separate myself in the way God commands. He says the separation must be clean. He says God will protect me. My hands were trembling reading it. Then I found another entry. I put the drops in the food. I hope it works fast so I can begin my new calling. I had to sit down. My wife had been brainwashed. Brainwashed by a manipulative predator pretending to be a prophet. And she tried to poison me because he told her God wanted it. I went to the church that same day. I found Dion in his private office, dim lights, candles, fake angel figurines everywhere. I said, "I know what you told my wife. Stay away from her." He smiled. Actually smiled. And said, "Your wife belongs to God. If God wants her with me, who are you to question?" I snapped. I grabbed him by the shirt when he whispered, "If you don't move, God will move you." Before I could respond, 2 church members came in, and I left before things escalated. But I recorded the whole conversation. That night, Naomi came home and found her packed bags on the couch. I played the audio. I showed her the toxic test. I showed her her own journal entries. She collapsed on the floor crying hysterically. But not tears of guilt, tears of fear. She kept whispering. Dion said I had to. He said it was the only way. He said God would punish me if I didn't listen. I realized then. This wasn't just an affair. This was a manipulation. A mental takeover. A spiritual cult situation. I called Naomi's sister. We got her out of the house and into therapy. She filed a police report against Dion. When the police searched Dion's office, they found romantic texts from multiple married women. Special drops similar to the bottle Naomi had. Fake prophecy guides. Money envelopes from women labeled spiritual offerings. He wasn't a prophet. He was a predator. He was arrested for fraud, coercion, and multiple counts of manipulation. Naomi has been in therapy for 8 months now. She's slowly waking up from the fog he put her in. But me? I don't think I can ever go back. I filed for divorce. Not out of anger. But because I realized something. Once someone tries to take your life, even under manipulation, there's no way to return to normal. And that's where things stand now. My wife fell in love with a manipulative man from church. And she tried to poison me because he told her God wanted it. But now I'm left with the question, how do you heal from betrayal that almost killed you? What would you do if you found out your spouse tried to poison you because they were manipulated by someone from church? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to know how you'd handle a situation like this. Story 3. My husband cheated on me with my childhood friend. And they planned to take my kids. I always thought the deepest betrayal would come from a stranger. But I was wrong. Because nothing hurts more than being betrayed by two people you love the most. My husband. And my childhood best friend. And the craziest part? While she was hugging me. Wiping my tears. Telling me I deserved better. She was secretly plotting with him to take my kids and replace me in my own family. Yeah. This story is wild. My childhood friend, Tessa, has been in my life since I was 8. Sleepovers, birthdays, boy drama, college visits, she was always there. When I married my husband, Jason, she was my maid of honor. When I had my first child, she was in the delivery room. She called herself Auntie Tessa and bought the kids everything. Everyone said, "You're so lucky to have a friend like her." But here's the thing about snakes. They hide in the grass until it's time to strike. It started small. Tessa began spending more time with Jason than with me. Helping him fix things around the house. Offering to babysit whenever he needed. Bringing his favorite snacks when she visited. I thought she was just being her usual, helpful self. But she started crossing lines. Like telling me, "You need to be more appreciative of Jason. Men like him are rare." Or, "If you don't treat him right, someone else will." I laughed it off. Stupid me. Around this time, Jason and I began having more arguments than usual. Nothing explosive, just stress, exhaustion, parenting disagreements. And every time I vented to Tessa, she reacted too fast. She'd say things like, "You deserve someone better. He doesn't appreciate you. Maybe you two aren't a good match." But then she'd say the opposite to Jason. I didn't know that at the time, but later I learned she was telling him. "She's always complaining about you. She said she regrets marrying you. You could be happier with someone who really understands you." She was slowly, quietly, systematically tearing us apart from both sides. One night, I got home early from work. I walked into the living room and saw something that made my heart stop. Jason and Tessa were sitting too close on the couch, whispering. Her hand was rested on his knee. When they noticed me, they jumped apart like teenagers caught doing something bad. Tessa said, "We were just talking about you." I said, "I doubt it." Jason got defensive. Tessa got overly emotional, hugging me and saying, "You're stressed, you're imagining things, everything is okay." But the moment she hugged me, I smelled Jason's cologne on her clothes. My stomach twisted. 2 days later, I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. A woman from Tessa's workplace. She wrote, "I don't know how to say this, but your friend and your husband are having an affair." She sent screenshots. Messages between Jason and Tessa. Photos. Nasty ones. Ones no best friend should take with your husband. Tessa's messages made me sick. Once she breaks down, you can file for custody. She's unstable. We can convince people she's unfit. Your kids need a better mother figure, me. I nearly threw up. While she was pretending to comfort me. Crying with me. Giving me advice. She was planning to become the new mother to my children. And my husband? He agreed with her. He wrote back, "Just tell me what to do." I didn't confront them right away. I needed proof. I needed a plan. So I acted normal. Pretended everything was fine. Meanwhile, I collected the screenshots. Downloaded their chat history. Got legal advice. Installed a camera in the living room. Documented everything. For 2 weeks, I acted like the perfect clueless wife. Then one night, the recording caught everything. Tessa came over while I was grocery shopping. She told Jason. She's almost broken. Once she snaps, we'll use it to take the kids. Jason said. I'm tired of pretending. I want her gone already. I stood outside my house listening to them plan my downfall. My hands were shaking. My vision was blurry. But one thing became crystal clear. They wanted my life. I walked in calmly. Jason froze. Tessa's face went ghost white. I said. Don't stop on my account. Keep planning how you'll take my kids. Tessa stuttered. Jason tried to talk. I pulled out my phone and pressed play. The audio recording of them plotting filled the room. Tessa started crying instantly, fake crying, the kind she always used to manipulate people. Jason tried blaming her. She seduced me. She pressured me. Tessa screamed. You said you loved me. They argued with each other while I sat there. Quiet. Calm. Dead inside. Then I said. I'm done. Pack your things, both of you. Tessa panicked. You can't do this. Jason and I cut her off. Jason will deal with his consequences. You will never come near my children again. She lunged forward to hug me and apologize. I stepped back. Don't touch me. Here's what happened next. I filed for divorce immediately. I got full custody because of the recordings. Jason moved out the next day. Tessa tried to play the victim online. People dragged her so badly she deleted everything. And the best part? She texted me last month saying, I miss our friendship. I blocked her instantly. My husband cheated on me with my childhood friend. Not just cheating. A whole plan to break me, take my children, and build a family without me. But they forgot something important. I'm not weak. I'm not stupid. And when you try to destroy a mother, you awaken a warrior. Now, the kids and I are rebuilding our life. Slowly. Peacefully. Safely. Without two snakes hiding in our home. What would you do if your spouse cheated with your childhood friend and they planned to take your kids? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear how you'd handle a situation like this.